Go.
Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katie Ray. I am with one of my friends today, Trinity Morgan. She joined the show today. We're going to talk about all of the things from being an aerialist, not me, her, being a digital content manager, right?
Yes.
Digital content manager. Yes. She teaches. She is Miss Athletic, always coming in with them arms straight up toned. We're going to talk about managing everything at any age and continuing it. And her birthday's coming up, so this is awesome. Welcome to the show, Trin.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you could pencil me in. And on one of your money days of private lessons and just practicing. But let's go to aerialist, because I think this sport is like, oh, it's beautiful. People don't understand the intense physical movement you're doing, the injuries that could come about with it, and how you teach all ages right now.
So it is really beautiful, and it's beautiful because we work very hard to make it look easier than it is. And it's just been a journey that I'm still on. I've been doing it for 6 years now.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy to even say when you say that.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I did grow up dancing, so I already had a lot of flexibility and body awareness and kind of like general strength. But I stumbled upon it after a car accident. I couldn't stand up straight for 9 months. And then when I went back to, because I wanted to go back to dance, the place that I went to start ballet again also had an aerial arts program, and I was hooked from day one. I just did a tester class, and then I couldn't get enough after that. So I trained like every single day because I wanted to catch up my aerial skills to my level of dance skills, and I wanted to like get to the point where I looked good doing things. So I was just,
you do. You look awesome.
Yeah. So here we are.
Oh my goodness, 6 years later, and you took something that was probably very traumatic of a car accident and not being able to go back to dancing, and you made it an amazing accomplishment. I think it's awesome to watch. I'm the creeper on all of your pictures. You're like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, congrats. But I think that's a huge accomplishment. Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a process that you have to be committed to. It looks very ugly in the beginning. It's very clunky and awkward, and everything hurts, and you're like, why am I here?
What did I do?
Like any new workout, right? Like we all feel like that for the first, 6 months to a year. Maybe.
You're like, this is not as pretty as I just saw it.
Yeah, you're like, that's the thing to be mindful. I love social media. I like to look at Instagram as inspiration. It's kind of like a driving force. I think that it's given a lot of us a platform to show who we are and what we do, but you also have to remember that it is people's highlight reel. Like they've been working on, when you see those workout videos or you see people doing tricks and things, they've been working on that for years. And so that's why it looks effortless. So it's really easy to like try something and immediately give up because you don't look like that. Yeah. And so that's really the mental part of it.
Well, that's good you tell people that, because it is like one pose you're in probably hurt for a long time, and then you mastered it, and you're just like, wow, maybe I should try to fly in the air with Trinity one day. And then you're like, nah, it's not that easy. It's no. This did not look that pretty before.
Yeah, but I mean, it's something that everyone can actually do to a certain extent. Will you be a Cirque du Soleil star? Questionable, unclear, right?
Can't tell you your future.
But I'm also not one to stop it. I've known people who, just not even with aerial, they started contortion, which is, I think, even harder after age 30, 35, and like gone on to do some big shows and be really great. I think anything you're diligent with and you spend any good deal of time with every day, you're going to see the growth and the change, and you're going to eventually be good at it.
How have you been able to really stay focused on kind of the end goal with all of, like, just in dance and now aerialists, like the insecurities of thinking it has to be a certain body type, or you have to be able to do a certain move, or this, like, how have you been able to maintain such confidence and kind of ability to be a role model for new ones coming in? Like, what do you think has kept you on that?
So to be fair, I did struggle with the image issue. Just growing up dancing and feeling like, oh, your legs are never long enough, your feet are never archy enough, you're never thin enough, and blah, blah, blah. I think that as I've gotten older, I've started to focus on a little bit more on what I am, and a little less of what I'm not, which is not to say I'm perfect at that every day. Like I have my days where I'm like, why can't I just, yeah, but I'm evolving. So I'm trying to focus on being as strong as possible, which has the, what's the word? It lends itself to me kind of evolving into what I was trying to look like to begin with. But I think where, the physique came in for me is when I started focusing really hard on the conditioning and the training and what my body can do rather than what it looks like. And then as I was doing that and not paying attention, my body started to look like what I wanted to. And I think that's a really big deal.
That is huge. And just that you are a perfect example for young girls because you know what they're going to go through. So kind of steering them to the right thing to focus on, just like you have. I love that you're a teacher. I wish it was a little closer, and for me, for my daughter, just thinking that like, oh my gosh, I don't want her to run into not feeling good enough. And that's what like my fear is for her. But I'm like, oh, she's going to have to go through it. I did.
I think that's women in general. I think that we all, whether we're athletes or moms or, in the workplace, I feel like we have this sense of detachment where we feel like, am I doing enough? It just never feels like enough. We have this ridiculous expectation that we should be everything to everyone all the time. And I am the biggest red flag for that. I am so guilty of it.
Guilty.
I could work for 12 hours and get home and it's like, well, I hope everyone liked my classes and I hope no one was like, and it's just, you just overthink it. And I don't think men do that. I think we just have this, we're trying to break into these spaces where we feel like we don't belong. We're marginalized as women. I'm African American, so I feel like I'm trying to push into these spaces and prove yourself all the time. And it's unrealistic.
Yeah, and you kind of have to check yourself a lot.
Yeah, a lot of checking and being checked. I think that I try to tell my girls they're allowed to take up space. They're allowed to exist as they are, with a mindset. Like I think it's, you can exist as you are and still work to be better. Like those two things don't have to be separate. Like I think we're always so focused on what we're not. And I think the not enough and what we're not, like I think that all ties together. And just kind of giving yourself the space to be human is the hardest thing.
I think that's amazing and said perfectly. I always talk about people like there's no timeline, like enjoy your present, like enjoy what you're doing, and you are doing it. Like you're doing it right now. And you go from a 12-hour day of working and helping young women just like grow, and you're just like, oh, I wonder if I did anything today. Yeah. And you're like, you did do a lot, Trin. Like you just literally impacted these girls and they see you doing it. So I love that just about teachers in general. Like you're not just like, go do that and you've never done it. Like you're literally doing it with them. You're doing it to teach them. You're helping them know like it's going to be hard, but we're going to get there together and I'm going to show you how to get there. But I love that. I love that. I'm so thankful that you teach too.
Yeah. It's so funny because I thought that my girls, I was going to teach them and I was going to inspire them to be these strong, awesome women. And it's so funny because more often than not, I will look at a kid and I'm like, you taught me today. So, like they have all these different personalities and moods. And I have been through, especially this summer with our first year going to competition, I have just worked through so much. My patience, which was once very thin, is much less thin these days.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. I had no idea I would ever put up with it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did you ever think you'd be a teacher?
I think I always I did, because I even growing up in ballet, I would like help the littles classes. I think I just always loved children, and I do love dancer children specifically. I like because
they enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Shocker. Yeah, but I just love watching them grow. And I think that I do, while I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like I didn't do anything today. Like, it's like little by little, that little became a lot. And I look back and I'm like, wow, that was actually an insane summer. I was doing something every day, and look at the result. And that's the feel good. So I feel like on the times where you feel like, did I do enough? Like, look back at how far you've come in even the last 3 months, and you'll feel a lot better.
You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm actually being ridiculous.
Yes. And then for your day job, you are doing what you love too. So working in technology, of course, in digital marketing. How are you able to separate that and kind of intertwine it? Like,
I've found that they don't really separate that well, because I'm always talking. I don't know, somehow I accidentally always bring up the kids or something. I'm like a mom. I'm always talking about them. Like, I'm sure people would love for me to just shut up about the kids, but so they're always in the back of my mind. But yeah, so I do the digital content. I work for an agency that serves luxury real estate clients. So that's been a lot of fun to learn the industry. And it's a whole different part of my brain that I use during the day. And again, it's an agency, lots of personalities, lots of conflicting interests, and it's a constant juggling of deadlines, timelines, and opinions, and like just trying to approvals, the approval process itself, like just to get anything done. But I've learned a lot in the last 9 months, and in general with my advertising career. And to the question of how do I separate the two, I don't necessarily always separate them. I think that things I've learned in both places have served me in the opposite place. And so I think that that's a skill in itself, is being able to take this lesson that I learned over here and apply it over, to a different situation. Because really at the end of the day, it just boils down to critical thinking and planning and creativity. And so that's what I'm trying to do everywhere.
I love that. Now, if you had to, do you think sometimes that you do spread yourself thin doing so much?
I have a day or two every, depending on how much I've been doing, 3 to 6 weeks, where I'm like, I will literally sleep for 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm good.
You're like, no. Every other Saturday, I'm actually sleeping. Yeah. So for a full day.
And it's so funny because people are always like, the moms, everybody at work, they're like, I don't know, how are you doing this? Mm-hmm. And for one thing, I grew up going to school and going to dance, and I was my kids. So, they go to school, they're the studio till 9:30. And I think because I grew up that way, and then in college, I was really active, that I've never not done it. To the point where there are times where the studio will be closed for a holiday, but I still had to work. And then I go home and it's 5:00 and I'm like, well, now what? I don't even know how to take a break.
You're like, oh, wait. But I think your work ethic, I worked with you for about a year, I think. And I can just see your work ethic. Like, you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, you had a routine and you had a lot of demands at a young age. And I think that shows, and it's such a good example for the kids you're teaching, that you can do it all. Don't feel like you're spreading yourself thin. Of course, if you are, take a step back and do what you need to do. But you do your 12 hours of sleep, so you're totally
12 hours every 4 weeks, all set. No, I was just kidding. But I will say that that's my biggest thing. I think a lot of us were taught that you had to eventually leave your hobby behind, or your passion, or your art form. I've never really thought of dance as a hobby, and I definitely do not now, obviously, or aerial. But, you grow up playing a sport for your whole life, and then you're expected to go corporate. You're expected to just go corporate because you didn't get, quote unquote, a big break. And there are ways to do what you love, make money doing what you love, and have it in your life for your whole life, or as long as you wish to do it.
You're an example of that.
And so it's just kind of a matter of priorities. I miss a lot of happy hours. I feel like I would like to be more present as a friend, but I think my real friends really understand what I do and what I'm trying to do and accomplish. And so it's just that juggling, you're not going to make every happy hour. You're not going to be home in time for dinner. I eat popcorn for dinner more nights than I really want to admit.
That is not her. Easy. That is not her trick to her amazing.
No, it's not. I should absolutely be eating more than that, but it's literally just because I'm too tired to make anything. So if it's not pre-done,
popcorn smells super good.
Yeah, so. Right. And it's like I'm like I can just eat this and I can pass out here on the couch.
Just wait for your 12-hour day.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's easy or that sometimes I don't get exhausted. I also can admit I maybe play the Superwoman card a little bit too much, and I do need to remember to rest and recharge more. But it's not, with the challenges, it's worth it. You just have to, and I'm finding getting better and better at the scheduled juggling. That's a really big challenge because I would for a long time, I was like, okay, I'm done with work at 5:30 and we can start your lesson at 5:30. And on my, at least that's what my calendar would say. And it's like, okay, please account for travel time. Yeah. So it's just, and I'm an optimist. So I'm like, I can make it there by then. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm going to fly.
And I'm very well meaning with it. I'm not trying to push everything. I'm just trying to do as much as I can in one day. But yeah, it's gotten a lot better. I have people that have been very understanding and helpful, and they're just willing to put their kids to bed maybe an hour later just to get the time, and it's all very much appreciated.
What is your go-to for when you're having those rough days of questioning everything, or what do you go to, a book, music? I know you probably go to doing
wine.
aerial.
No,
just, what? just drinking a bottle straight to the face. What?
No. So that's the other thing, is that this second job of mine happens to also be my outlet. And so there have been times where I am kind of tired. Actually, today was a tired day. I just left before I came here, a practice session, and I was laying on the floor trying to stretch. I'm so sore and trying to do something. And then I got a second wind, maybe 45 minutes into failing at everything I was trying to do, and figured out something. And so there's those little breaks. But I think because my second job is my outlet, rather than I'm not leaving work and going to, a restaurant, a retail, or having to do another job. It doesn't emotionally drain me as much as it could. So it actually invigorates me in this weird way. Because I love leaving work, and if I had a bad day at work, but then one of my kids get their back handspring or they get a drop they've been working on, I'm like, okay, today was worth leaving the house. So
yes.
It's actually a lot better.
That's amazing. What do you think what's your goal, your dream to eventually be into? What, I know you love both jobs that you have. So it's what is your vision of a perfect calendar? Are you living it?
Right now I am actually trying to nail down what it is exactly that I want. I have so many different interests that I, kind of ping from priority to priority. But I think eventually I would love to do aerial and dance full time, between a blend of actually training and performing and coaching. I know I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of traveling aerial coaches, and I would love to do that half time, travel parts of the year and coach at other studios and choreograph, and then come back to my home base and work with my kids and just live this carefree creative life, but big steps.
Carefree creative life, flying.
Everything is just flying. But it's funny too, because it's also a very expensive sport. So I did not even mean for all of this to happen. I started teaching to try and offset the cost of the private lessons and group classes that I was taking, to try and get to this point. And then I realized that I like these little people. And so now it's just gotten to the point where I have to find time for all these lessons that people want to have. So
that's good, though. Your passion shines through and they feel your energy. So it's everybody wants a private with Trinity. I want to fly. I can't wait to. Maybe. But what are some of your kind of biggest influencers?
You mean people? I would say, oh gosh, it depends. So many.
I know. Get a couple.
I really love, so on the ballet side, I really love Misty Copeland, and Allison Strauming.
Your background's ballet for dancing.
Yes,
right?
my background is ballet. A lot of people forget that. They're like, did you dance or something? And I was like, yeah, for 23 years.
I was a ballet
Fun fact, I have a minor in dance, but
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, so I have some dancers that I follow that I really love. I love Alonzo King's Lions Ballet. I love the program that he created and the body of work that he's done. I tend to fixate on people who have bodies of work that are recognized and like their name just kind of stands on its own. And so those people are really he's a choreographer. So on the choreography side, I really love him. And then for aerial, I really love Waverly. She is just a badass, for lack of a better word. She owns her own studio. She travels and coaches. Like she'll book up a whole weekend in any city she goes to. And she's just like this really positive person that, you train with her and you just feel like $1 million when even though you could not do one thing that she showed you and you're like, well, I'm going to work on this for the next 6 months until you get back. Hopefully I have like one of these things to show you. But you still feel great about it. And I just love her whole, the way that she coaches, the way that she choreographs and the things that she does. Womack and Bowman, I've not actually met them in person, but I follow them. And they're California-based aerialists and choreographers, and just the business they've built around that to me is incredible. So
as a creative and a dancer, of course, did you ever feel like you had to move to a bigger city than where we are?
When there was a time when I thought that I would have to. I grew up in a fairly large city. I grew up in DC. And then there was a time where I was dancing again and doing aerial. I was doing both. And I thought that I had to, move to New York to make anything happen. And then I realized along the way that I didn't. One, because I realized that I didn't necessarily want to be a permanent hire on like a big show. It's very hard on your shoulders. I would do it maybe for like a summer, like just a season or something like that and see how it went. But living in a small to medium-sized city is actually what's allowed me the space to create what I've been doing and kind of slowly make a name for myself. I'm not famous at all or anything like that, but I think I've kind of gained visibility here in doing what I do in the unique way that I do it. And then traveling, honestly, has kind of bolstered that because I travel to those big cities and work with the coaches. And then I've just kind of like grown my network from that. And now starting, because I teach at a dance studio, it's a competitive dance studio, beautiful dancers, beautiful choreography. We have some great choreography and talent there. And this was the first year we were able to take a few girls to competition. And then I met a lot of coaches there that are like, oh, I want you to come choreograph for us. So in this weird way, living here is what allowed me to grow into this.
Yeah. I know people are always like, oh, I should have moved here to do this. But that's awesome that you just made it happen where you were.
I think you end up being kind of a dime a dozen. And I think because I'm here, like I'm able to work my full-time job, so I don't necessarily have to wait tables, although there is a benefit in that. I know there's like, for whatever reason, there's some kind of stigma around it, but a lot of people do those service industry jobs because it allows them the flexibility. I've just been able to work around it.
Yep.
So.
And do you choreograph when you teach?
Yes.
Awesome.
So I choreograph for I usually do a couple pieces when we take dances to dance competitions. We'll have a couple pieces that include aerial. And then we have a recital every year. And then now I'm choreographing more than ever because I'm also doing gigs as well as choreographing for competitions. So it's been really fun to kind of do all this crazy stuff.
I know, super proud of you. Glad I get to kind of watch your journey from afar.
Yeah.
So let's go over some of your social handles, the school that you teach at. Go for it.
So it's just, my name is Trinity B. Morgan, B as in boy. And I teach at New Level Dance Company. It's in South Tampa, Britton Plaza. We have classes for all ages. Really, really good dance program. I'm just a piece of a machine. We have a lot of really experienced and great teachers that choreograph some amazing things.
I forgot to ask you the one thing I want. Do you see more boys and men joining aerialist, or you wish?
I really wish. Tampa is harder because it's a smaller city anyway. And then like just culturally, I think this is like Florida is very football oriented. So a lot of boys are playing football, and then a lot of them are doing, other sports. We love boys. So we're like, please come here. But whenever we do go to competitions, everyone knows the boys. Everyone knows who their names are. They're like, oh my God, he's amazing. In aerial, there are a couple guys there. But in the aerial world in general, they're the men who do aerial at a very high level are just incredible athletes. And I love to tease my kids all the time, like when they're like complaining, like, oh, this is hard. I'm like, yeah, well, if it's easy, be football. You know what I mean? Like, really though, I've just...
Go play football.
I know, a little shade there, but don't get mad at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the men who do become aerialists are just incredible because men have a lot of natural upper body strength. And their dynamic movement is just different, and the things that they can do, Aaron Cause is an example. I just trained with him a few weeks ago. He is a straps artist who travels again, like he's doing a meetup in Costa Rica soon. And he is just this incredible athlete. I have another coach, Owen Leonard, who trains there's a big school in New England, a big circus center, and he can just the dynamic motion of what they are able to accomplish is just incredible. So I think dance and aerial and acting and any type of performing arts is for everyone. And it should, I wish more men did it. I think, maybe as a society, we'd be better off if more men had a form of expression, artistic. So
I think you are correct. I totally agree. Jaden and Juliana are both in gymnastics right now at a young age.
I love it. I can't wait to have them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Guys have been low-key trying to like coach kids.
Hey, when are you starting them?
I'm just waiting.
What? Okay. So as an ending, of course, follow Trinity on Trinity B. Morgan on Instagram. And you'll find her on the Not a Great Whisper podcast page. But what do you want the audience to like remember and learn from? And from everything that you're doing, from sticking with your passion and your love for dance and now being an aerialist, what do you want them to remember about you?
I think that I want people to just remember that you can take up space in whatever space you feel comfortable. Don't make yourself small because you think that your dreams or what you love to do or you like to do is weird. Of course, when I started, people were like, what are you like going to run away with the circus? And it's like a joke. And now people are like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So just, find your own path, be true to yourself and what you love, and keep doing it. And the people who really care about you will support you, and you will replace the people who don't with people along your journey that should be there with you.
Yeah, so. I think we forget that when we're younger.
Yeah.
That you want the people around you that are supporting you and cheering you on. So you are wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I love that you fit me in your schedule.
Oh, stop. I'm not that busy. Okay. I do my best. I'm doing better with
12-hour sleep day. She picked a 12-hour sleep day. She is doing great. We have her celebration next week for her 30th.
Yes, 30. I can't believe it. We made it.
So we will love that. Again, you'll find Trinity on Not a Great Whisper Instagram for our podcast, The Real K-Ray. And we are sponsored by McMullen Oil, and Morty's music will be at the end. And we are at BKN Creative Studio in Ybor. And we appreciate you being here, Trinity. Thank you, my dear. And I hope all your students listen too.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.